In today's episode, I want to give you one very simple reframe to change all limiting beliefs. Hello and welcome to the Successful, Sensitive and Intuitive Entrepreneur podcast. My name is Lydia Sophia Wilmsen and I am an intuitive success mentor for sensitive entrepreneurs. In this podcast, I speak about the challenges sensitive and intuitive entrepreneurs face. I offer you new perspectives and solutions, as well as experiences of other entrepreneurs. Plus, I speak about my personal experience of being a highly sensitive person who has successfully built and scaled 2 businesses. All of that with the goal to make you and your business even more successful in your very unique and authentic way. Have fun and enjoy. Because we have all been there. We all have faced situations we don't like, where we start doubting ourselves and put all those limiting beliefs on ourselves. This happens constantly. Every day there is something that doesn't work out the way you planned it or the way you wanted it. Even if everything is going nicely and then you want to go for a walk and what happens? It starts to rain and you get kind of mad and think what the heck? I wanted to go out and go on a nice walk. Or it can obviously be bigger things. It can be, you pitched several clients and all of them say yes. Or just one person, even 5 people said yes and one person said no. And then you go into disaster mode. Then you go into the limiting beliefs. Or perhaps you're overworked and then something else comes onto your plate and you think oh, what the fuck? I have even more to do now. Or a friend doesn't reach out in the time you wanted or you want the friend to reach out. Every day we face situations where things don't go as planned or don't go as wanted. And this is a fact. So it just is. And what I want to tell you today is how to change that, not per se how to change your circumstances, and rather how you deal with them is, wait for it, stop putting meaning on those situations. Stop putting meaning on whatever is happening. If you just take whatever happens as something that happens and then keep going wherever you want to go, that's a totally different scenario to something is happening and then you're creating a story around it. So for example, someone says no, and then you put meaning on it and you create the story I am not good enough. This is what needs to shift. Don't put meaning on that someone said no to you and create the story and the belief of I am not good enough around it. Or for example, if you didn't accomplish your goal, you didn't make the money you wanted to make. And then you say, or you fall into the pattern of I will never make it work. I will never make enough money. That's the story. And this is the meaning you are putting on one thing that doesn't need to have this meaning. You can just let it be and say, okay, I didn't achieve the goal, so off I go. Off I go to the next goal, or off I go into the next month with the same goal and I make it work. Stop putting meaning on the situation. Basically, let it pass through as a thought, as an emotion, and nothing more. Whatever happens, if you have the feeling I don't like that, accept that. Accept it. Let the emotion run through you and let the thought even run through you. You don't even have to put meaning on thoughts. Even if you come up with a thought I'm not good enough. You don't even have to put meaning on that thought. Okay, think that thought and know that thoughts are not facts. They are just thoughts and you can choose to let it go. Stop creating stories around what is happening. And just basically experience life. And that changes everything. It sounds very easy, very simple. And it's exactly that. The more I started doing that to whatever happened, and there has been crazy stuff happening in my life, also crazy undesired stuff. And whenever I caught myself in this thought, or like, what the fuck, why again? And I can't make it work. And there is another evidence of me not being able to do X, Y, Z. Or there you see, I want to go out of the door. And of course it rains, because it always rains when I didn't think that, but that's just an example what you can think. Yeah, you are creating a story. And with that, you create further thoughts and further negative emotions, which basically keep you in the loop. And if you just accept things happening and not make it about you anymore, taking the meaning of those things, then you're basically in a neutral state where you can keep creating what you want to create. So for example, I have a big monthly goal and I haven't achieved it yet. And I don't put meaning on that anymore, that I haven't achieved it yet. It just means I have another month to go for that amazing goal and enjoy the process. And every month I get freaking closer to that goal. Very often we look for really complicated things to get rid of limiting thoughts and limiting stories. And one thing you really can start from now on to shift the meaning, to stop putting meaning on whatever happens. Still experience all those thoughts and negative feelings, embrace them, accept them. And at the same time, really let go of this sometimes even kind of addictive behavior of putting huge stories around them. And the more you do that, the more you remind yourself of, okay, just don't create meaning around that. It just happened. The easier it gets for you. And the easier it happens for you that you can actually shift things. Because the story is the thing that keeps you where you are. It's not the limiting thought in that moment itself. It is the huge story you create around it. The meaning you address to it. Instead of basically dealing with it with everything else that happens in your life. If there is a fly flying around in your room, would you create a huge story around it? Or would you just get rid of it or let it out into nature? Or if you run out of something you want to use for cooking, yeah, okay, you just go to the store and buy it, And the same way you can deal with everything else that shows up. Even if you're 5K short to pay a bill, or if you had a 50K income goal and you only made 30K, or you had a 50K income goal and you only made 5K or whatever, it does not matter. The thing that creates the pattern is the meaning you attach to it. The meaning of, I'm not good enough. Again, I couldn't make it work. No one wants me. No one wants my offer. The same, many of my clients, they are shifting their offers. They are creating new offers. And if no one buys it in the moment, it does not matter. Stop putting meaning around it. If no one buys it, then either check in with yourself. Do I really love doing that? Then you keep going. Then you keep offering that stuff. Then you show up even more confidently. And if you then figure out, actually it wasn't aligned at all, then you skip that offer. Then you get rid of it. But stop putting meaning on the situation of oh my goodness, everyone hates me and I'm not a good businesswoman. I will never make this work. Or let me think about another example. Yeah, if you are a person who works a lot and then even more is dumped on your plate, and then you saying, oh my goodness, I'm always overwhelmed and I will never ever have time in my life and life is horrible and I never have time for anything. This is a huge story you are creating around this. This is a huge meaning you are creating on one single thing that was dumped on your plate. You can just stop putting meaning on it, accept that this happened, and either you do what was dumped on your plate or you decide, I don't do that. I take a different route. The huge mental story, the meaning you add, this is what you have to drop. And you don't have to do fancy techniques for that. You can just decide now to stop meaning on it, to stop putting meaning on it. And this is really one of the simplest reframes of everything that happens to you, of every time when you come up with limiting beliefs. Stop putting meaning on the situation and everything changes. Let me know how that works out for you. And if you say, but there is one big thing and always I can't, I have to put meaning on it. Yeah, then challenge me, send me a message, and I'll get back to you or create a different podcast episode around that and show you how you can even there drop the meaning and how this will change your outcome. Yeah, I have one more example. I had one client who didn't, or actually I had several clients who didn't make money or not the big amount of money they wanted to make for many months. And then they created a huge story around it, like so much meaning of why this was not happening and why they weren't meant to be successful and why this would never happen for them. And once they dropped the meaning and just did their work, their energetic work and their action taking, their aligned action, guess what? Of course, they were successful at some point. Some of them are like leading experts in their niche now. So dropping the meaning around something helps you to focus on what is really important, and that is doing the energetic practices and the aligned action. So I wish you lots of fun and enjoyment of the process while you're like letting, or while you're stopping, while you stop to put meaning on things and actually be able through that to follow your desires and create whatever you want, because you're not busy with those limiting stories anymore. It makes everything so much easier. I don't give a fuck anymore if someone says no or yes to my offer. Of course, if they say yes, I happily welcome them into my sphere, into my containers, and we change their lives. So it's amazing. I welcome everyone in. And if someone says no, I don't put meaning on that anymore. So be it. All good. I keep going. If I miss an income goal for a month, so be it. That's it. If a flight is canceled. Okay, I go crazy for a moment. There is stuff happening inside of me. There are fears showing up and I don't put meaning on them anymore. I know this too shall pass. I hold space for myself. I create space for my emotions and I let them move through me. The same with limiting beliefs. I don't put meaning on them anymore. I know that thoughts are not facts. I just accept thoughts and I know I can choose them and I can choose otherwise. I can choose different thoughts. If something not so nice happens, I don't put meaning around it anymore. I accept it and I deal with the emotions and the thoughts that show up. And that's it. And that changes a lot. It gives you back your power because you are not attached to the situation anymore, basically. You are at cause and you are not at effect anymore. As I said, if there is anything coming up from me, reach out to me in social media or via the contact form in my show notes. Did you like this podcast episode? Then I would be super, super grateful if you gave me a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. Super helpful. And please subscribe to the podcast and share it with people who you know can benefit from it. You can find all links to my social media profiles, my website, and contact form in the show notes. And whenever you're ready to take a next step, and that means you want to live a life of more on all levels, then send me a message with where you want to go and what is keeping you where you are, like what keeps you stuck at the moment. And then I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for listening, and until the next episode, much love to you, Lydia.